remember exactly when it was that this happened, but at one of the pillow parties at Hillary's house, after my second surgery and after a cancer surgery and therapies while I was doing therapy, Hillary and I were talking at the end of the party, and she said to me, "Don't you just want to go out sometimes and yell?" After a moment of maybe I was a little shocked, and maybe it just took me a second to reply, but yes, after she said that, I emphatically said, yes, I do feel like going out and yelling that sometimes. I appreciated her bringing this to the forefront, because what she did was she didn't necessarily address my scars and my pain, but she addressed, I thought, and saying this, is she addressed something even deeper. She addressed a brokenness in my soul, a brokenness in my mind. This brokenness that we sometimes don't want to talk about, and we even hide it and we say we're fine. I probably said I was fine several times at that party, but when she asked me that question, yes, I do feel like doing that. The feelings we don't express even to ourselves, sometimes anger, disappointment in the fact that our body has betrayed us, that maybe a person betrayed us, a community, or maybe a country has betrayed us. When you're dealing with physical problems or recovering from a surgery or a disease, the healing process may take weeks or years, or a person may not have permanent healing of their body to look forward to. We probably all know people who live with physical ailments that they live with their whole life. At the age of 12, my nephew was diagnosed with juvenile diabetes. With diabetes, the pancreas is broken, and it makes too little or not at all any insulin, which the body needs to break down the sugar in the body. The broken pancreas cannot be fixed. There is not any way to heal this. At the moment, a lot of things are broken in our world too. It will take weeks, years for things to be fixed. But some things will not be able to be fixed. That will become the new normal. And what will that look like? We have no idea what that will look like. But in the end, there will be healing, and there will be recovery, and there will be something new. Whether the body heals quickly or not, it is not the only brokenness that a person has to deal with. There's also the brokenness of the soul, or the mind, or the spirit. The body and the soul are connected. The body has to heal, and so does the mind. When things happen and you find yourself in a situation beyond your control, in a situation you did not choose, enduring something that you do not deserve, it is okay to be angry. You may even have to go out and yell. You may have to do that. You may have to do that, and it's okay. After being told that I have cancer, it did take a few days or more for the news to sink in, especially the second time when I was faced with the recommendation of chemotherapy. I delayed it as long as possible, as long as the doctor would let me, just so I could get my head around it. I knew it did no good to stay in a state of self-pity. I knew I needed to accept it for what it was and to do something. After the first time I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2006, I became convicted that I wasn't looking for open doors or new opportunities anymore. Not to be too hard on myself though, we had moved to a new country with 2 small children, had a 3rd child 9 months later, and I was also learning a new language and a new culture. After the birth of Adam, our 3rd child, I had my first encounter with depression. Later, I put together the pieces that it had been the perfect storm: a move, a new child, culture shock, It was a hard time. Maybe that's something for another talk. Building a bubble and staying in a comfort zone is certainly an act of self-preservation. Working at home, taking care of kids, and being part of our Christian community my husband and I worked with was busy and satisfying. In 2007, we went to the US, to Oklahoma, so my husband could be a visiting professor on the campus of the university we both graduated from, Oklahoma Christian University. It was a sort of sabbatical. While there, I truly felt convicted that I needed to open my eyes to more opportunities and possibilities of meeting people, of reaching out to help people, or to volunteer with a good cause, in addition to working with our church group, to spread out and not just stay in the bubble that we had created. I'm not bashing comfort zones, especially when you are doing your best in a situation. I think at a certain point, the security you feel could give you the courage to go out and extend your borders. While we were in the States, I was introduced to a fitness organization called Body and Soul. That could be BS for short. I had my first aerobics class my senior year in college and have been to many classes since. I was a member of a sports club for 10 years in Wilmington and participated in lots of aerobics classes. I never had any idea I would become an instructor and give classes myself. I trained in Oklahoma City and became an instructor before we returned to Belgium. I started teaching classes in the fall of 2008. This was a big door for me. I had no support from other instructors in Belgium to help me get my classes started, but thankfully I had a few good friends that were very supportive, and my husband was very supportive also. Another big door I walked through at the time was to attend an AWCA newcomers meeting with a woman named Sharon Halls. She had asked me several times to go with her to meetings before we had gone to the States. But at that point, I was not looking for new opportunities to meet people. But now that I was convicted that I needed to do that, it was easy for me to say yes. It was Lynn who talked to me and signed me up. And at my first meeting in January, I met my sweet friend Roseanne. And I also saw the pillow project that Molly Tiger was promoting for breast cancer patients. That caught my eye immediately. I started helping her, and in the summer, I took over the pillow project. I would say that this is also a part of healing and recovery. Using your experience to help others is certainly a form of therapy. You always gain so much more when you give back. There are different thoughts on the idea of body and soul. Are we a body with a soul, or are we a soul with a body? Is the zebra white with black stripes, or is the zebra black with white stripes? And the answer to that is yes. Are we made up of a body, soul, mind, and heart? Of course, there are different ideas and ways to talk about it, but the point I want to make is that what affects the body affects the mind also. When the body is broken through sickness, the mind is also affected. The body may recover and heal, and this might be through surgery or therapies or medicines, but a full recovery includes the recovery of the body and the soul, the mind. Being healthy is not always just about your body being healthy. The body and the mind support each other for a good health. Recovering physically and keeping your body healthy certainly would include eating healthy, but also physical activity. It is also said that physical activity is therapy for the soul. The Ghent University has joined a study being done at the Caledonia University in Scotland. The research suggests that physical activity can boost the immune response in both the short and long term, said Elaine Duveau of the Ghent University. In addition, physical activity can also reduce stress and chronic inflammation, reducing the risk of infection. This study is being done in response to COVID-19. But this is not a new idea that physical activity is good for you. It has been said that exercise is good for the body and therapy for the soul. Science shows that physical activity stimulates the release of endorphins, the happy hormone. Happy hormones. You have hormones that do a lot of crazy things to your body and your mind, but you also have access to hormones that make you happy. These are hormones secreted in the brain that trigger a positive feeling in the body, like after a workout or any physical activity that gets your heart pumping. Regular exercise can also raise serotonin levels in your brain, which also helps your mood to bring on feelings of well-being. Sometimes things happen. Maybe you just moved to another country. But yes, that happens. Our body may break. Our relationships may break. The economy may break. And we all know that sometimes the whole world seems broken. And these things bring a lot of stress and worry in our lives. And I know that as many of you are looking at the news items, and it has been distressing to see how people have been so stressed out by this situation and has so much pressure on them that there have been reports of suicides, even among the doctors and nurses who are taking care of patients. Stress is a very real thing, and it does affect your mind. I'm sure we all know the saying, don't worry, be happy. Actually, it's a song. Don't worry, be happy. If you are dealing with cancer, or if you are a nurse working the front lines during a pandemic, you don't want someone telling you, don't worry, be happy. I think sometimes we do want to hear that everything is going to be okay. But you prefer to hear this from a doctor or someone who is familiar with your situation and can say it with confidence to help you, not just to placate you. Saying something like this also ignores the fact that you are not okay. Your body is still hurting. Your body may still be broken, but your mind is also hurting. Don't worry, be happy is not the corona pandemic theme. But we do use positive words sometimes during times like these to encourage each other, to cheer each other up. We do want to be positive and say things that they look bad right now, but it is going to get better. And we have hope and we believe it will get better. But we know that a lot of healing has to happen first in people and in the economy, and there will be recovery, and we hope to get back to good health. I just want to add a disclaimer here that I am not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a doctor of any kind. I only am speaking from the point of view of my own life experience. I'll also add that just because you exercise, that does not mean that you will never get sick. After my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, I felt like I had a little bit of security. After all, I exercised and lived a relatively healthy life. I didn't smoke, I didn't drink to excess of alcohol. And you all know that list of things that you can do that will decrease your chances of ever getting cancer. Well, these things make no difference if you have a faulty gene. No amount of exercise will fix that. Cecile had a good post on her Facebook page this week. And in my own words, it said, health does not always come from medicines. It sometimes comes from peace of mind, peace in your heart and soul, laughter and love. And sometimes it comes from physical activity. Body and Soul is a nonprofit Christian fitness organization that was started 40 years ago in Maryland by a lady named Jeannie Blocker. She was a dancer and a new convert to Christianity. Her mentor, Kim, asked her to put together a dance exercise routine with some Christian songs for the ladies' weekend that she was planning. Kim would speak about the soul and Jeannie would take care of the body. It was a great success, and the rest is history. Jeannie and her husband worked tirelessly getting body and soul set up, routines learned, women trained. And now there are classes all across the US and also in 4 European countries. There are also classes in Zimbabwe and Rwanda and other African countries. The classes include cardio, strength training, Pilates, boot camp, and even chair exercises for people who have knee or hip problems or who can't stand for long periods of time. The choreography is done by professionals and the music is contemporary Christian, upbeat, positive, and fun to exercise to. I have taught classes now for almost 12 years, and I love using these classes to meet people. But mostly I love that I can help them with their physical body, that I can encourage them in their health and fitness with exercising so that they feel good about themselves and are more positive, a healthy body, a healthy mind. Not to mention how much the classes have helped me to recover physically as well as mentally from cancer, surgeries, and therapies. I give classes in the meeting place of our Christian community and the meeting place, and the ladies are all from around the neighborhood. There are women of all ages and nationalities and religions. My purpose is to help them and encourage them in their fitness goals. I also give classes at Brazle Dienstencentrum. There, my ladies are in their 60s and 70s, and you would be amazed at how well they do. They always impress me with their enthusiasm and perseverance and their ability to learn routines. Even when they start, they don't think they can, but they stick with it, and they do. I've made some sweet friends teaching these ladies. I feel very thankful and blessed that I've gotten to know all of them. We are all different. Not everyone likes to do the same kind of physical activity. I love the yoga that has been offered to the club by Susan and Katya. That is a wonderful exercise for the body and soul. I love cardio and running. You may like tennis or golf or walking or swimming. Whatever it is that you like to do for physical activity is good. It is important for for your physical and mental health to do it. It is good, especially as we get older, to do activities that raise our heart rate. The heart is muscle and needs to be exercised also. The lungs get a good workout also when we do a cardio exercise. And right now, for sure, it is very important to have healthy lungs. I also believe as we get older as women, strength training is very good to do also. And I don't mean working your way up to 10-pound barbells, no. My ladies use small weights depending on what they are able to do. The Brazle ladies use 1 kilo weights, and several others from my other class do use heavier weights, but only what they can use easily. The ladies in the Brazle class have told me, the ladies that are in their 60s and 70s have repeatedly told me how much stronger and how much better they feel just by using the weights. And they never would have thought of it before, but it does definitely strengthen their upper body, makes them feel stronger, makes them feel healthier. It also helps to keep our bones healthy as we get older. Healing of the body and recovery is our goal when we have experienced sickness or surgery or other ailments of our body. But taking care of the soul and the mind are just as important. We shouldn't ignore and not talk about the things that make us want to yell in the streets. I hope you all have someone to talk to when you're struggling and have things you need to talk about. My door is always open if you don't. I think most people have heard the Serenity Prayer written by Reinhold Niebuhr. Lord, grant me the strength to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. What things can we change to make our bodies and minds healthier? and also by that to be happier and healthier people that are encouraged and are strong and encourage others. Another writer penned these words almost 2,000 years ago. He said, summing it all up, friends, I'd say, do your best by filling your minds and meditating on things that are true, noble, reputable, authentic, compelling, and gracious. The best, not the worst. The beautiful, not the ugly. Things to praise, not to curse. This is good advice, I think, for a healthy mind. I also think exercise is good for a healthy body. Thank you. That is the end.